you're in the game. You're playing the game without playing the game.
It was a great decision, whoever made that casting call. I think the score in this is pretty stupendous, in my opinion. I do think some of the plot elements, like, it almost gets in its own way sometimes.
It has to create a story, but it also has to sell you the game.
And I hope they make more movies that are in this vein. And welcome back to another episode of Pinoys versus the World. My name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And Chris, we are talking about Exit 8 today. Special little mini pod here, I think, to get a little bit of our thoughts out. We're just fresh out of us seeing it with the homie Sebastian. Welcome to A-List. And not sponsored by AMC, but happy to have a homie along to watch Exit 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. At the South Center, obviously, directed by Genki Kawamura. Who is not also director of Your Name, but lightly associated. But, you know, Exit 8, a game that we had no knowledge of really going into this prior. We had just kind of speed ran our own viewing of a couple of videos of people like Markiplier, KCO playing the game. But now that you've seen a little bit of that and we've thought a little bit about our thoughts about Exit 8, what do you think about the movie and kind of the direction it ended up taking it?
Well, yeah, so we just finished watching a couple like Let's Plays of the game, which we had not seen going in. And watching the movie, you know, you kind of have to like learn the rules and like the common mistakes that people make when doing the game. And I think they really outlined it really well in the movie in hindsight. Out of any of these video game adaptations, I'd say this one makes you feel the most like you're in the game. Like you're a player. The main character is like a player in the game. And it kind of does some perspective shifting so that you're another player in the game. So it kind of like turns this very monotonous thing where you just keep going through corridors and looking for anomalies into something that's, you know, movie-wise more interesting. They try to give it more character than just running through the door, but they definitely give the essence of just running through the hallways and looking for weird stuff.
I mean, I was about to say, after watching a little bit of it, I remember my first experience was watching that Markiplier video we just ran back. And it's taking a pretty simple premise with some spooky horror and thriller elements and making it into a full 90 plus, or barely 90 plus, but about 90 minutes of pretty good storytelling, I think. I don't think it's the strongest when it comes to the plot and some more, you know, original script things that, I mean, shout out the original creator of Exit 8, Kotake Create. Looks like they're credited here as a writer on the movie as well. So this is a movie with, I mean, this is a game with no story. So in the movie, right, you can't just have them and several different characters. You know, we've got one played by the actor Kazunari Ninomiya, Lost Man, The Walking Man. We've got a couple characters in here, but it's folks going through, I was going to say the back rooms, going through Exit 8 and that final hallway several times and being pretty terrible at the game as well, which is pretty fun. I mean, they've got 2 or 3 different versions of like how people play the game as well, like and in the movie style of being like, okay, what happens if you were in Exit 8 as a real person?
Yeah, what's interesting about it, well, first of all, he said it was a $2 game, right?
Yeah, so $2.50. It might be on Steam sale right now.
So it's a $2 game on Steam, $2-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the game's, again, very simple. It's just you are the player. You're a first-person player. You walk down this hallway one time. You see there's posters on the left, there's doors and vents on the right, and there's a guy who walks past you. So basically your job is just to identify anything wrong with that. So you walk past it the first time and it's like a clean run.
Yeah. And
then from then on, it's just the game can throw whatever it wants at you. And it kind of like preys on your sort of your paranoia as we just watched
kind of dread, like a feeling of dread.
We watched this Markiplier video, you know, where he just continually fails and he gets more and more paranoid as he tries to go. So you basically have to like get it 8 times in a row. Or 9 times, I guess. You have to do Exit 8 twice. And then you can get out. But
because it's like, is the anomaly Exit 8 itself? Like,
yeah,
do you have to do it? If I was counting in the movie theater 0 through 8, I'm like, no, they've done it 8 times. But when you reach Exit 8, even that is like, is that an anomaly? It's like you said, the movie does a good job at kind of giving you that feeling that maybe the player has of frustration and kind of preying on your fears and insecurities, which is kind of what the movie takes a direction and its storytelling.
Yeah, it takes it a step further in that it gives the main character some like anomalies that are more emotionally resonant than anything you can get in a $2 game where you just pop it in.
And it's a first-person POV in the game. They do some homage to that.
First like 10, 12 minutes is just him looking at his phone and then like entering the challenge all from like a first person perspective. You can see him like through a reflection in the train, and then after that it kind of takes a while for you to get like the third person perspective. But from there you kind of enter in and then you just kind of head into this game. But it does a good job of like, that's the main challenge with a game that's so repetitive.
Yeah.
Is how do you make all the shots unique? Obviously you're going to get the anomalies, but then how do you like get more scares in that are more like horror movie type of things? And they do some jumps for sure. They get some weird monsters in there, blood dripping out.
Oh yeah, those no way those monsters are in the game from the limited stuff we've seen.
They could be. I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Easter eggs everywhere.
That could be just another ending, and that's the thing about the game is that it makes you feel like there's just infinite ways for you to mess up the hallway, which is cool. Yeah.
And another strength of the film, in my opinion, I mean, you love music. I love music in film. Like, I think the score in this is pretty stupendous, in my opinion. It's one of the biggest strengths of the movie, and really gives things in the game where there's no music at all. Really, it's just a kind of a dry vibe of walking through a really sterile hallway, and you like can hear the sound of like lights in the ceiling, and that's about it. But in the movie, they really take it a step further and chalk that shit up to 11. Shout out Shohei Amimori and Yasutaka Nakata, who are part of the team that made the compositions and original compositions for the film adaptation of Exit 8.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that really nails down like the monotonous nature of everything is that there's just a whining sound every time he starts a new run at the hallway, which, as we saw in the Let's Plays, is not in the game, but it's just another kind of like horror sting. That kind of reminds me of like The Shining. It's like the same thing, like different, like there's like a very similar musical composition they're always using when he's like taking steps and stuff like that. And so that was kind of a repetitive, like an homage, I felt, to that kind of stuff, where it's like a repeating element that makes you just feel more like, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's dreadful. It's like, man, you're still stuck in this place. So they did a lot of good visual, like audio devices like that.
Yeah. And I feel like there are some spoilers here. We might start to dive in now just for a few minutes. I think talk about a couple main plot points, whether we like them or not. So just, throw it up, Jonas. Spoiler alert. There are two different POVs you kind of get, right? And there's a lot of long shots with these POVs. Obviously, the main character, our lost man, the guy who's kind of in the middle of this, will he and his ex-girlfriend, I guess, keep this kid, and like children get involved in the plot? Even at one point, really famously known probably around the New York subway systems right now from all the neon, or at least the American side of the neon advertising campaign where they had then the walking man, Yamato Kochi, walking around. It basically is the dude in the anomaly from the game who has the white button-up tee, some black pants, and a smile that's a little creepy and kind of endearing. I really, really like how they pull a difference between these two characters and how they play the game, how they approach Exit 8. And then at the end of the day, you find out, obviously, with the walking man, if you've seen the film, that he ends up taking the path that you're not supposed to take and goes straight up to, I guess, a continuation of this like hell they're in, purgatory almost, of Exit 8, before you go back to Lost Man. So they do like add some interesting lore aspects that I think is kind of like a benefit to taking a simple video game and turning it into like a full storyline. Now, maybe we can go into even a little bit, Chris, too, into our thoughts, because I know the plot didn't really work for me every time. I think some of the acting sometimes was a bit, not necessarily stiff, like quite the opposite, maybe a little too big and grandiose, like when the homie, and pretty much every character in here, like trips at opportune times to make an anomaly call out and continue the game and win the game. Anyways, I just think that plot sometimes is bogging down the progress the film makes at certain points. Like, it almost feels like I'm trying to get through mud to get to the very end. But it definitely has its high points for sure by taking those risks with the plot as well. So I don't think it's perfect, but I definitely don't think it's great by any means. What did you think about the plot, I guess, and like those storytelling elements and like writing that's completely original? Obviously not involved in the game at all.
Well, it's kind of weird. I don't know if what exactly plot points you're referencing, but the what I'm kind of thinking of is all the times where like the character gets distracted by something, whether it's like a call or just like something that's like relevant to their life, and then they just keep proceeding on because they're so distracted. Like in the moment when we were watching, I was like, wow, that's really stupid. But then we watch like these Let's Plays, and it very much like captures the nature of like the Let's Plays where you're like, you know, you like, ooh, shiny object, or ooh, this is interesting. And then you get too close, or you just like kind of stumble into it, and then boom, you're back at the beginning.
Like when the door opens, like, yeah, the curiosity of like, as a person, like we was a very animated group. It was real fun because we're like, you just got to turn back, man. We see the anomalies.
It's again, it's like playing the game. It felt like the most like playing the game that it could be without actually playing the game. You know, I could see, you know, legions of people across the nation, across the world at certain points, at the same points that we were, and just being like, turn back, turn around, you gotta go now. You see this thing you saw? You see blood dripping out? You saw your wife? You gotta go. You gotta leave.
You saw that black cat? I was like,
you gotta leave. You know, because our last episode was the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And we're kind of talking about how, you know, it tried to like mimic the feeling of just like it's not even a movie. It's like it's just a game and you're just watching fun things happen. Yeah. This much more felt like, oh, you're in the game. You're playing the game without playing the game. I think that's probably my biggest compliment that I can give to this movie.
Yeah, no, and I similarly echo those thoughts because of the fact that they had so little to work with to really make the film a film. It's something I'm interested to see what they do with the Backrooms. Like that's another game that I think has more lore. Never played it, and maybe, you know, we were watching some of like the origins of that before. These films that are taking on kind of like low budget indie horror and thriller games and turning them into something greater than that on the big screen. That while the games were popular enough on Steam to begin with, and that's how you get these adaptations and you get the original creators involved and stuff. But there's like a whole nother market of people that now get to enjoy this original story that's kind of based off of a fun little indie game that some folks, or maybe just one dude, it sounds like, made on his own, just decided to sell, and now it's a multi-million-dollar grossing movie worldwide. So I mean, it's been received pretty well, I think, like on like a Rotten Tomatoes, but you go on Letterboxd, it's more hovering around like a 3 to a 4 range for a lot of folks, maybe some like 2.5, because again, I do think some of the plot elements, like it almost gets in its own way sometimes. Like it's really ambitious, and like those highs are so high, and like the ambiance and the vibe and the feel of Exit 8 and the set they built to replicate what it looks like in the game is like so cool to me, so interesting. Like there's a moment about 40 minutes, like pretty much halfway through the film, where the intensity of the anomalies kind of heightens. Like they keep going one by one, which is not necessarily how it looked like it is in the game, which was nice. That they give you this feeling that like the stakes are as high as you may have originally thought they were going to be, but it took them a little bit to get to that point. And now in hindsight, I do really like the ending as well. Kind of in what it's like, assuming this guy who's stuck in this infinite loop in Exit 8, is he out? Did he make it out? All these things, right? If you play the game, you might have a different interpretation of that. So I think also like the plot and where they ended up taking all of the designs and stuff gives a little bit for like a first time viewer and a little bit for the gamers too. So in that sense, like the Super Mario Bros. Movie or Super Mario Galaxy movie didn't give first time viewers of a Nintendo project anything to really chew on. Like, and that's where a lot of the haters came from. I think you can judge this more as like a movie than an actual, just an adaptation of something people like from video games.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you put on, because the Super Mario Galaxy movie, you're coming in, you know all the characters.
Oh yeah.
Well, I didn't know all the characters. As you've probably seen if you watched that episode already. You're like,
throw it up.
That's me. Just what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But in this one, it has to create a story, but it also has to sell you the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and it probably will be doing that.
It has to explain the game and then also put a narrative arc on top of selling the game. So I think it succeeds in both those things. I think the more we talk about it, and the more, again, watching those Let's Plays, like I said, for like this is like the third time I said it, but watching those Let's Plays definitely gave me big perspective on like how this movie is structured, because I think I was more in line with some of the Letterboxd reviews. It was like, oh, you know, I think one of the top reviews of this is a 1-star review, and it was like, men are stupid. I would have solved this in 5 minutes.
They're terrible at the game.
Yeah,
they're terrible at it.
And it's just like, it's basically, you're watching someone bad play the game.
Yeah,
sort of thing. But there are
times like Casio, it looked like there are people who are not going to be as astute to it as others. And maybe that's like what you would think going in is like, oh yeah, I could do it. But when you're in when you're in there,
Yeah.
it's probably a different feeling.
It's like
you know?
how attuned are you to the details and stuff? How much you're going to look around because we're looking at Markiplier.
Yeah.
He was ignoring like all the posters on the left side.
And
of
we're
the thing.
here like, turn around.
And again, we have just watched an hour and a half of a character in a movie doing the exact same things.
Multiple characters,
ignoring posters, not looking, sometimes as carefully as they should. And it's just like when you watch the Let's Plays. It's like the Markiplier sometimes just sprints through runs because he's just like, I don't care. I'm frustrated. So the parallels between them, I'm just like, I actually enjoy the movie now, just more just talking about it. So
I really do think it's one of the best video game adaptations we've gotten like on the big screen for sure, which is so funny to say again for a game that is probably always been 10 or 5 or less dollars now all the way down to the ripe inflation price of $2.49.
Watch
or
it
something
become
like
$20, but then they get the Walking Man reskinned to a Japanese guy because it's a white guy in the game.
It's a white guy in the game.
It's a white guy in the game, which is weird.
And then like 2 of the businessmen that show up in the last plays also look kind of vaguely Japanese.
Yeah, I think they're Asian.
Yeah, so you're just like, okay, why are we taking these directions? But it was a great decision, whoever made that casting call, to get the man Yamato himself with the ponytail and the smile. His smile is great. It's such a boon to this movie to have so much of the marketing be so like mysterious. And I think that's where I'll end my thoughts on Exit 8. I think it's strong in creating what the original game gave you a feeling of. Again, that dread, curiosity, and also preying on like your fears, insecurities through like this new story that they're making with the foundation of like the original game, right? But I mean, more than anything, I think it succeeds in creating that atmosphere that gamers probably had for the first time. The frustration as a viewer of watching like a Let's Player almost like go through this and suck at it, right? And again, like I just think the music is amazing. The story is the most mid part about this, but there are parts of it that I think are strong by the end, right? It just if you stick with it, it's a slow-ish burn, and then when it takes off, it takes off. And shout out it didn't overstay its welcome. I think that's also a benefit to it. It's pretty well edited film. I'm a big fan of the long shots. So if I were to go like with a score, I think I'm gonna give this movie a little bit more love. I'm gonna go on the side of 4. That is what my Letterboxd review is going to end up being. 4 out of 5 for me. Shout out Exit 8. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, truly, I'm in the middle. I think I might go 3.75 out of 4.
They should add it to Letterboxd.
They don't go that granular. But yeah, I think just the more talking about it, I was like, yeah, I respect this movie a lot more for the things that it does. And yeah, I definitely think people should go see it if they can.
It's a hard recommend, I think.
Yeah. It's definitely a recommend. It's a cool movie. It's a very cool movie. It's got some solid scares. It's not like, it's not like full blown horror.
Oh yeah.
But I think you kind of touched on something good there with the it feels like a oneer a lot of the times. Because I could see like the stitch, because like there are times where like it pans along the wall. I'm like, okay, that's the stitch sort of thing. Yeah. But it tries to make it feel as much like playing the game, because when you play the game, it's just infinite. If you mess up, it's just like it just keeps going.
If you think you got it,
it's really smooth. It's like nothing ever happened.
If you think you got it and you look at the Exit 8 sign and that shit said 0, you messed up. And that feeling's got to be devastating.
You messed up, and then you got to turn around. You're like, what did I miss? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, really, really good. Really good.
Man, I mean, maybe the last thing I'll say is I do like kind of like this headcanon I'm creating for myself, where I'm like, maybe every time in the game you decide to like go up the stairs or into like a dark hole, or you fail and you respawn at 0, that you're a different character. So anyways, this game has got me thinking about stuff about and the movie has got me thinking about a game that I have never played. But yeah, I mean, shout out Exit 8 and shout out this team for making a really good video game adaptation in a time where it's so mixed, right? I mean, like my last note will be that I hope that Backrooms has a similar vibe to this. I mean, you can't even compare it to something like a Mortal Kombat, but there are so many good stories probably to be told with a foundation of good indie games to choose from. And you can tell easily what's popular on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox. So, this has put this in the pocket of good video game adaptation, and I hope they make more movies that are in this vein. Shout out the creators.
Yeah, it's not a 5-star AAA whatever they call it property, where it's like the things. It's like, again, it's a really simple game that's just kind of expanded into a thing, and it's great. It is a good premise for a movie, and it doesn't rely on knowing the IP or like having played the games for your whole life. So
You can dive into it more,
you
obviously.
can dive into it immediately. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Again, that's to sell the game. Definitely sold me. So
Yeah,
if
sold me
it's
too.
that cheap, go spend the $2.
Hey, see if it can run on your PC. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, hard recommend for the game and for the movie, obviously. So, any final thoughts?
No,
A nice quick one
we're
today.
good. This is our edition of Pop Culture Happy Hour, Pinoys edition.
Pinoys edition.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, let us know below in the comments section if you think we should do more short reviews like this. I mean, I enjoy talking about this little quick one because we like the movie a lot and we want to make sure we get our thoughts out and stuff we like. So, I mean, shout out again, Exit 8. Thanks again for listening to this shorter episode of Pinoys versus the World, as always edited and produced by Jonas Hyllseth. And I'll end this by saying my name is Harald Hyllseth.
My name is Chris Angkico.
And we will talk with you all in the next episode. Peace.